Hello, everybody. Hope you can hear me. OBS says you can hear me. Anyway, this is Brad. Welcome to the show. Got a couple of things to talk about this time. I didn't do a show last week because I really wasn't feeling like it. It didn't seem like there was a lot I was really interested in talking about. But this week we got a little bit to talk about. And I'm probably gonna not spend too much time on certain topics and then spend a lot more time on other topics. I try to balance it out, but let's just get on right into it. And the first topic is this crazy crossover that is out right now that people are sharing all over Twitter and elsewhere between the King of Fighters and the WWE. Like, it's insane. Like, it's a mobile game. It's a King of Fighters All-Star. And I haven't played this, but from what I gather, I really don't know anything about this game, except since it's a mobile game, I assume it must be something similar to Power Rangers Legacy Wars, which I do have and have played, even though I haven't played it in months. But it's just a crazy crossover idea. And by the way, Power Rangers Legacy Wars is like that as well. There are Street Fighter characters in that game, and there are crazy original Street Fighter themed Power Rangers in that game too. There's a Ryu Ranger. And there's a Chun-Li Ranger. I don't know what they're officially called. I think the Chun-Li one is like the Phoenix Ranger or something like that. But these mobile games are crazy. But if you haven't seen anything from this game, I would say if you're not interested in playing it, I probably won't play it. I don't even know if it's free, how much it costs, anything about that. But the interactions I've seen people posting who are playing it are hilarious. Like, there's clips of The Rock calling Iori a jabroni. And doing his whole, "It doesn't matter what your name is" shtick to different King of Fighters characters. And it's some ideas are so crazy and make absolutely no sense, but they still work. And there's not really, there's not an explanation for it. Ideas like this are just, they're dumb. They really are dumb, but they're so entertaining that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that John Cena can fight Terry Bogard. It doesn't matter. It's still fun. Of course, the first thing I joked about when I saw the pictures of Cena fighting Terry was, okay, we're getting Cena in Smash now. It's starting to make sense. And of course the obvious ones about, hey, who's Terry fighting? I don't see anybody. Like, that's not a tired joke. It's still funny, but But that's a fun little thing. I'm gonna try to check it out. Hopefully it's not one of those you gotta pay to get, because Power Rangers Legacy Wars was not. It's a free download. Of course, you can buy stuff in it. That's with any game these days. So I'm gonna try to check it out and see what it's like. Hopefully it's fun. Power Rangers Legacy Wars plays as a rock paper scissors kind of deal, where you do a standard attack, a special attack, and then an defending move, and each one basically functions rock paper scissors. And there's also speed. You got to be the first one to input, and it's not bad. I used to play it when I was really bored, but ever since I started doing like the channel and everything, I really just haven't done it. So that's more of just wanting to spend more time doing videos than playing a game, because I can't stream this from my phone. I don't have what I need to do that. But I haven't deleted it yet. I don't want to get rid of the game, because I do want to try to unlock all of my favorite Rangers in there. Of course, I've said this before. Like, my favorite Power Rangers are the original Red Mighty Morphin Ranger, the Green Ranger, the White Ranger that replaced the Green Ranger in that first season, and then in Zeo, I like the Gold Ranger. The Zeo Gold Ranger. He was technically an alien. So those were my favorite Rangers. That's why I haven't gotten rid of the game. But anyway, there's not really much I could say about this because I haven't played it. I just thought it was a crazy idea, but it's really really entertaining. And if you haven't seen the character interactions between the WWE wrestlers and the King of Fighters characters, go check those out. But we're gonna move right along. Moving along, we've got something else to talk about. Something that kind of came out of nowhere. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 being remastered for current gen. That's kind of a big deal. I was never super into these games, although I did really like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I had that one. I spent a lot of time in it. I always loved building my own skate parks in that too. I was really good at it for a little bit, if I remember correctly. And I think, let's see, the original appeal to this game for me was that one of when I played Pro Skater 3, I haven't played 1 or 2. I've only ever played 2 of the Tony Hawk's games. But the original appeal was that I saw that Bam Margera was a playable character in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I was like, oh, that's cool, because at the time, I was big into Viva La Bam when that was on MTV. I was a big Viva La Bam fan. The show was hilarious to me. But I thought it was cool to actually get to play as Bam. But I actually had a lot of fun with the game. I don't remember much I don't even think there was a story. Not really. At least not one that I remember. But most of my time I spent trying to design skate parks on my own. And then just seeing how fun they were. Because it's funny because I'm not really like I understand how hard it is to make video games and everything. And I'm currently working on with RPG Maker MV and Visual Novel Maker to try to make my own games. And even a more simplified tool like that is still, you still got to know what you're doing. And it does take a lot of time to get things to work the way you want them to. But when video games give you the ability to kind of create within the game, I always like that. It's one of the main reasons why I stuck with WWE games for so long, is because for a little while, for a few years, they had a story creator. You could go build your own show with pre-rendered cutscenes that you just put whatever character you want in there. You want to have John Cena and The Undertaker cutting a promo on each other in the ring. There, you just set it there. Or if you want to take John Cena out and put in one of your created wrestlers in there to, talk smack about The Undertaker, there you go. And you can type in whatever you want them to say. And they added more stuff to that over the years, and then they eventually cut it. And then that's kind of where my interest in the WWE games dropped off, because I'm like, just when you introduce stuff like that, it's a big draw. It's also kind of why I think the Dragon Ball Xenoverse games were so popular. You could create your own Dragon Ball character. That's great. But this will be interesting. I'm definitely gonna try to play these, because I don't really play that many sports games really. But if these two remakes play like Pro Skater 3 did, then I'm probably gonna enjoy them a lot. Now the big thing that people were wondering was, what about the soundtrack? Is the soundtrack coming back? Because there's a particular set, of music and particular songs people associate with skating and everything, more that not hardcore, hard rock sort of music, and you do get stuff like that. I know that from what I remember just off the top of my head, Papa Roach will be back for these remasters. Rage Against the Machine will be, and what was the other one? Power Man 5000. Oh yeah, can't forget about Power Man 5000. But like I said, I never played these games, so I don't remember the full soundtrack, but I do remember In Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, they had Motorhead, Alien Ant Farm, CKY, and they even had like Dell the Funky Homo Sapien. That's always I mean that game actually had a really good soundtrack too. So I have no doubt that 1 and 2 had great soundtracks too. Apparently there were a few songs that didn't make the cut for the remasters, but I don't remember what those were. But that's okay. I mean, if you get most of the soundtrack, that's fine anyway. I don't think people are gonna, not buy the game over, a handful of tracks when they got most of them. So, it is what it is. Sometimes licensing and all that is just terrible to deal with. Sometimes it's impossible. We saw what happened with the whole SpongeBob Super Bowl fiasco, where apparently, even though they were teasing the SpongeBob appearance, they knew from the get-go they couldn't get the rights to the song. They couldn't get the rights to Sweet Victory. And so, I don't know why they even bothered to hype it up like they did, and to even do it when they knew from the start that they weren't going to be able to actually use the song. But, anyway, this will be fun to look at when it's ready. I can't remember when it's supposed to come out. I don't remember. I should have looked that up before I got on the show. But that'll be fun to play through. The only other game from Tony Hawk of the Tony Hawk series that I remember playing was Tony Hawk's Underground 2, I think it was. Whichever one it was where there was the faction war between Team Tony, Team Hawk versus Team Bam. I don't think I ever finished that game. There actually was a story there, and it was a what would the appropriate phrase be? I mean, it was sort of like it was a war between Bam and Tony to establish dominance in each other's, territory, skating territory, from what I remember. There's a lot of wackiness and stuff in there. I remember Bam's dad, Phil, is in the game, but it's only him in his underwear. I think Steve-O was in the game. Somebody from that crew from the other shows was in there that you've seen Bam hang around with, or you've seen, was it Steve-O or Wee Man? Whatever they called him. I can't remember what his name actually was. I just know that's what they called him. I don't remember. I think it was Steve-O. I'm going to say it was Steve-O. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. But anyway, I look forward to checking those games out. I'm sure they'll be fun. And speaking of checking things out, I'm going to move on to a rumor that actually came from a different announcement and further rumors. And that is that apparently, according to some places around the internet, we may soon be hearing about a deluxe port of Pikmin 3 coming to the Switch. That's pretty big. Like, Pikmin 3 is one of the main reasons anyone should have gotten a Wii U. And, like, it's one of the very few games left that hasn't, from the Wii U era of Nintendo, that has not been ported over to the Switch. I think, what were the last 4? People were saying that there were only 4 games worth playing from the Wii U era that had not been ported yet. It was Pikmin 3, Mario 3D World, I think Wonderful 101, not Beautiful, Joe, what was I thinking? Wonderful 101, and that is getting ported. And there was another one, but I can't remember what it was. Nintendo Land? No, I don't think it would be Nintendo Land. They would have to completely rework Nintendo Land, I think, to make that work. But I wouldn't be against it if they could find a way to make Nintendo Land work on the Switch. I say bring it over. But I really liked Pikmin 3. I didn't like Pikmin 2 that much because I felt like I remember I've only played a little bit of it, and maybe I just didn't play enough of it. But it seemed like the sense of danger was gone. Like the whole thing I liked about the original Pikmin was that you crash land on an alien planet, you only have a limited amount of oxygen, and you've got to depend on these little guys that you pluck out of the ground to help you salvage your ship, put it back together, and then escape. And the whole it's a beat the clock kind of game, and that was what appealed to me about the original Pikmin. And so in Pikmin 2, from what I remember, because it's been so long, you and your new partner Louie, you owe money. You're raising money for your company. You can go back to the Pikmin planet, whatever they call it, at any time and just go salvage stuff that you find, and just it's all about making money. And I was like, this doesn't seem as exciting. I know it's basically the same thing you're doing again, and so gameplay's not really that different, other than they introduced the purple and the poison Pikmin, I think, that was in that game. The purple and white Pikmin. That just didn't sit right with me. I'm like, the urgency's gone. Now they're just working. It's not about survival. So that's what was really cool about Pikmin 3 is they brought back that whole, we've got to survive on this planet deal with these 3 new adventurers that they brought in. What were their names? Alf, Brittany, and what was his name? It's Captain something. It's a big dude with a mustache. I can't remember what his name was, but I do remember it was Alf and Brittany. But that was really cool to see that, and they changed the formula again. It wasn't about finding parts. You had to find fruits and food you could eat, and depending on how much you found, it got converted into nutritional drinks or whatever it was that Brittany and Alf, that the crew would use one a day to survive on. And at first, you got to find just enough. And as you play, you start building it up, and you've got plenty. And as you're trying to clear through levels, and you actually do have like legit boss fights. They're pretty great boss fights too. Excuse me. But a port for this would be really cool, because it is one of the last games from that era that there's not really a lot going on for Pikmin right now. Like, I know that there's been a lot of people waiting for a new Pikmin for the Switch, and I think at least a port of Pikmin 3 would be something, because Pikmin 3 is a really good game. And if Pikmin 4 happens, it would be, I don't know, you could possibly use this as a means to test if Pikmin is still really popular. I don't know why it wouldn't be. But, because the last Pikmin game we got was like Hey Pikmin or something like that, and I never even played it. I wanted to, but it just didn't seem interesting enough for me to actually go get it. So I'll definitely try to get Pikmin 3 if it is coming. The rumors are saying that we should hear about this soon. And I assume that has to do with the whole cancellation of E3 and everything due to the coronavirus and everything. I think that's probably thrown I'm not even going to say probably. That's thrown everybody's plans off. So, of course, video games are going to be affected as well. So I do, it does pose the question, like, what would Nintendo's E3 presentation have looked like if this wasn't going on? I think this could have been a really big E3 for Nintendo. If they're, because we've also got, we're in the middle of May. Fairly soon we should be hearing about who the ARMS rep will be in Smash Brothers. I think they said they would reveal that in June, so that's less than a month away. Um, we could have had a big E3, man. And I know the PS5 and the new Xbox are around the corner. It should have been a very, very big year. But I do think that the shift to online stuff, Nintendo's not had really a like. I still feel like there's gonna be a big direct coming this summer, even if it's not like E3 or whatever the new thing is that's going around. I can't remember what that was called. Summer of Games, but I don't think Nintendo's involved with that. But I think we've got some good stuff coming, and I'm fixing to talk about something else soon. Um, but I want to see Pikmin 3. I do want to see Pikmin 4 too. We need a new Pikmin game, and hopefully it carries on just like Pikmin 3 did and Pikmin 1, where there's a sense of danger, and you've got to depend on the Pikmin to get you out of the danger. All you really need is just a good story. I mean, and I would say do something about like the multiplayer. The multiplayer game, like I didn't hate the multiplayer for Pikmin 3. It actually was pretty fun, but I think they could stand to work with it some, maybe expand it a little bit. I think it was always 1v1. It was always just a since the Switch's whole big thing now is you can have like 8 people playing at once. You can have all these different people playing, and you can have people playing with, communicating between switches and all. That would be something that they could expand. And of course, if it's a deluxe version, there'll be more levels and things to do. So hopefully we'll see this, rumored Pikmin port. It is one of the last games from the Wii U that needs to come over. And at least it would be some sort of a bone they could throw to Pikmin fans who are waiting still for Pikmin 4. But hopefully that will be coming. They say soon. Who knows what soon really means. But this is actually part of one rumor that was going around that came right after the announcement of this next game I'm going to talk about. And that is Paper Mario, the Origami King. This dropped out of nowhere. Just like Nintendo, hey, you like Paper Mario? Here's a new Paper Mario game. Like, crazy. And I've seen some people say that that's a sign that they just kind of just threw this out there, that they don't have a lot of hope for it. But I don't know. I think there's been a lot of talk from amongst the fans who've been wanting a new Paper Mario. At least I know I've wanted a new Paper Mario. I've seen plenty of people say that Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is probably one of the best video games ever. At least according to them. I mean, I would say it's a really good game too. I like the original Paper Mario, and I think Thousand Year Door was a better game. It just all around. But so this came out of nowhere, sort of. I said out of nowhere. There were inklings before, and I'll get to that later. But they just cold dropped this. Here's a trailer, and honestly, I'm really excited. The thing that everybody seems to be concerned about is the battle system. But from what I can tell, the battle system seems to be more it's a turn-based system. It's not just the, run and jump thing like it was in the Wii Paper Mario game. What was that one? Super Paper Mario? I definitely didn't like that one because I watched somebody play it. And it's just like, this is a little bit too far. Like, visually, I thought it was great looking. I mean, it just... I preferred the turn-based RPG, style of battle. And the trailer that came out and the little clip they released, I don't remember if they pulled it or what happened to it, but it seems to suggest that there will be a turn-based battle system. It looks like it's a little more complicated though. Um, the one part I remember seeing is where it's a rotating arena, and Mario's fighting some origami Goombas, and Mario was rotating the arena to line up the Goombas so he could stomp on them in a row. Now, I don't know if that was specific to one particular area in the game and one particular battle style, like if you can only do that in that arena, or if that's going to be a standard battle. That would be interesting, that like Mario, different battles will function different ways. That kind of been a thing with how Paper Mario's worked before. So there's some enemies you can jump on, some enemies you can't. But playing with the actual arena is an interesting idea. Visually, like I said, the Paper Mario games just look fun. And I like this idea that they're pitting the flat paper people against the folded up origami people. I am interested in that story because from what I read, Princess Peach is actually going to side with the Origami King on this, while Bowser is going to be one of your partners through this, and he's folded up. He hasn't, it looks like he hasn't joined the origami side, but somehow he ended up folded over and looks like a Bowser wallet. I assume will be for the whole game, which will be hilarious if that's true. Because it's always funny to see Mario and Bowser team up. But it's even funnier that this big turtle monster is going to be folded up and look just like a little wallet of himself, just palling around. It does make you wonder, like, what will he do? What will he be able to do in that form? Can he attack? Can he resume his actual form? I don't think you're going to see much of unfolded Bowser, considering that, look at this image here. He's folded up right there in the promo. So that'll be interesting. I saw some folks saying they're concerned that it looks like a regular Bob-omb who calls himself Bob-omb is going to be your one of your partners in the game, which doesn't harken back to the old days where your partners from the original Paper Mario games would be slight variations. Like I remember the first game, your partner that was a Goomba was named like Goombario or something like that. He was named after Mario. And I think the second game, your Goomba partner was named like Goombella. And they look a little bit different than your standard enemies. But then again, in that game, the standard enemies were the ones you were fighting. So it looks like maybe the paper enemies that you would have normally fought in the old games are going to be your allies in these against the origami characters. That's what it looks like. Especially looking at this promo art, where you've clearly got the flat paper characters on one side of the screen versus the origami characters, and Mario is just, sort of shocked dead in the middle. So it looks like there's going to be a conflict between these two sides, and it's interesting that, if you look at it that way, Peach is standing opposed to the monsters, but Mario is flat like the Koopa Squad. So it looks like they're flipping the narrative here, and this time maybe Princess Peach is wrong. Maybe she's been brainwashed. That's, Peach being a tool for evil has happened in Paper Mario before. So, who knows? Some brainwashing? Maybe this isn't really Peach? Maybe she's been kidnapped and replaced with an origami puppet clone? Who knows? But it is, I I'm really excited for this. I think I think it is fair though for people who are like, I'm cautiously optimistic. Like they didn't really show off a lot of the battle system. I saw person said that there will be stickers in this game, and I had Sticker Star or whatever the name of the 3DS one was, and I didn't get that far into it. I got stuck in the game, and I was like, "Ugh, where am I supposed to go?" And I just didn't pick it back up. But supposedly the stickers will function more like badges traditionally did, and I'd be fine with that. With each badge giving you a certain power up or ability. Apparently, your shoes can be upgraded, so that's good. Probably your hammer too. I think you could upgrade your hammer with badges in the old game. So I think there's a lot to look forward to in this. But there's also something else about this whole Paper Mario thing being a reality, is that a few weeks back there was a rumor that there was a Paper Mario game coming this year. And that rumor was combined with another set of rumors about some other games coming to the Switch. And that big rumor was of what they're referring to as Super Mario All-Stars 2. And that would have included either remakes or remasters of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and both Super Mario Galaxy games to be ported over to the Switch in a big 35th 35th anniversary collection from Mario. Now, like, this was a big deal, and apparently also their part of that rumor was the port for Super Mario 3D World, like I was talking about with Pikmin, one of the last games from that era, from that console that has not been ported yet. I think that I think 3D World. I think some website accidentally posted a link to 3D World for a pre-order for the Switch, and then it got taken down, or somebody found it, or a page for it or something. I can't remember how that went, but I think it was quickly delisted. That happened a little while ago, so I may be remembering that wrong too. But I remember something about a pre-order page going up for a 3D World Deluxe Edition that was also rumored to be coming along with this Paper Mario game and the remasters remakes for this Mario All-Stars 2. There could be some real weight behind that All-Stars 2 rumor now. Something else that I think lends weight to that is the recent event that happened where Nintendo swiftly went after somebody who posted a PC ported version of Super Mario 64 that someone was able to, the phrase I saw used was like reverse engineer the code or something and remake it from scratch, but make like they redid they redid the code from scratch after, I guess, reading it all. They didn't like reuse parts of the code. They completely redid the code in its entirety. Except they fixed it to make it HD and in widescreen. And people were like, "Oh, this looks really cool." Within days, Nintendo sent them a cease and desist. And so I'm like, that's weird, you know. We all know Nintendo tends to go after these fan projects and things like that. But I thought it was weird that they went like so quickly over such an old game. Like, Mario 64 is one of the most popular video games of all time. There's not a doubt, and probably one of the most important games in gaming history, in my opinion at least. But I think that actually does hold some weight. But why would they go after it so quickly? Like there's no real rush. And then I started thinking, there is that rumor that's floating around about potential remake coming, maybe potential HD remaster for this game. If I was planning to release an HD version of an old game that people love and will probably love forever, I may not want a free version of that just floating out there. Well, I think that little stunt Nintendo pulled there is a sign that this is coming. And on top of this whole deal here, we like the rumor included there's going to be a new Paper Mario this year. Well, we got that new Paper Mario. That page that leaked apparently of the supposed deluxe edition of Mario 3D World that happened. This pulling of the game of the fan made PC port in record time. Like, I think we're gonna see this All Stars, and I'm excited to see that. I love Super Mario 64. It's one of my favorite games ever. I pretty much say that my two favorite games of all time, tied for first, are Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario 64. I love these games, and a remaster for the Switch, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. Especially one that comes with Sunshine and the two Galaxy games. Like, I like Sunshine. I think Sunshine is a very fun game. I didn't like it quite as much as 64, just because I think 64 was a bigger deal for me to play a 3D Mario game. But I love Sunshine. The Galaxy games I enjoyed for what they were. I didn't like them as much. I know that's kind of a controversial opinion, but I still like them, and I would play them again. But that's a really interesting situation that we're in now, where one part of this big celebration for Mario has been proven true, and then there's some uncertainty around these others, but it seems to suggest that this big collection is coming. I hope it is. Because we know Nintendo really hasn't done anything with their N64 catalog. There's no N64 Nintendo, collection you can go on Nintendo Online and play, like for the NES and the Super NES. Which I am glad, though, that that is a little bit of extra thing we could talk about, is that they are still adding games to those two databases for people to play. They added 3 to the SNES just the other day and 1 to the NES. And honestly, I probably would never play these. I've never heard of any of these games except for that one. It's like, oh, what was that? The one with the girl that there's a costume for this character in Smash, and her theme is in Smash. It's like Ponce de Leon or something like that. I probably just butchered that. Oh, I can't remember what it was. I think it's got something to do with the character that uses that item where you pick up the flower stalk in Smash and you hit them and they grows a flower out of their head that damages them. But I'm glad they're still adding games. Hopefully they keep adding games. That the Super NES catalog is pretty barren. I mean, they got the main classics, but there's not that many games there. I do wish they would do and something else I still wish Nintendo would do is finally make an N64 mini console. I mean, I'm sure they can do it. If they could make a PS1 mini console, they can make an N64 mini console. And that thing would sell like crazy. Like, I've said this before, but like, if they could get a mini console made, puts Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, the only Mario Party game from the 64 that's still available legally anymore is the second one. I don't know why you couldn't just put all 3 of them on there. All three Mario Party games. Uh, Pokemon Snap. It's a shame you couldn't do Pokemon Stadium and Stadium 2. I'd love to see those games, come back. And maybe I'll talk about that. I would love to talk about a potential Stadium, Pokemon Stadium 3 that we never got because they kind of went off in a different direction with the whole idea of 3D Pokemon games. Now that's the norm with ever since Gen 6, having your Pokemon in 3D has been just the way it is. The little pixel sprites don't do anything anymore. They don't exist. But could you imagine what would happen if they did that in an N64 console and then they worked with Microsoft to put the Banjo games on there? Banjo and Banjo Kazooie. Like, there's so many good ideas that you could do. Like, you already got Banjo and Smash. Work with them, get those old 64 games and put them on a console. Maybe have them up. Maybe do that N64 catalog for Nintendo Switch Online and put the Banjo games there too. I mean, I get that might would hurt Rare Replay, and maybe that's why they wouldn't want to do that. But I don't know. Like you could do something. But I hope supposedly the rumor that said that Pikmin 3 information was coming soon for the Switch also said that we should be hearing about this All Stars thing soon too. So I'm hopeful. Like I said, we're getting close to the period where E3 would have been. So I expect more game drops to be happening. Just because there's not an event doesn't mean that this isn't still the time that people associate with gaming news and lots of game announcements. These Nintendo's still gonna announce games. Sakurai apparently said that like development for Smash for the next set of DLC characters is still going well, even though everyone's having to work from home. So, despite the situation and things having to be changed and people having to work from their house, things are still moving along. I am curious though what all is going to happen. Somebody said there's a rumor out, or the talk was that there won't be a Nintendo Direct. Was it in the month of June or until after June? So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. And there's got to be a big Direct. We haven't had one in a while. Let's see. What's up? Let's see, the later show. How's it going? It's going to be interesting to see how the industry works around not being able to have such a huge press event. I think they're just going to hype up their own events. I mean, the whole summer of games seems to be taking place, or taking E3's place. I'm curious about that. I should have looked up more about that Jeff Knightley's doing. I think I saw Reggie talk about it. But that whole thing seems to be, instead of one big event, it's just going to be a steady thing of gaming news and reveals, which might work out better. I don't know, because we've never had, it's been a long time since there's not been an E3, but E3, I guess E3 had to evolve like when G4 kind of went away, which was sad. I always loved that the little while there where we had G4 and they covered it. It was the biggest thing for G4 was to cover E3, and that was always fun. Then it went to where I remember Spike TV ran the Microsoft presentation one year. I think that was the year they revealed the return of Killer Instinct. But it's been a long time since they've had that. And with online being, like, with everything now, it's going to just be strictly online. But, I don't think that part's going to be that different. But, it will suck that people won't be able to, there won't be a physical event for people to go and play games, that way. They might could make up for that by releasing demos online, and hopefully they work. Unlike the Ninjala beta that happened recently, and that got delayed too, unfortunately. But if it makes the game better, that's fine with me. But yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. If they could, they'll still probably do their presentations the way they would. You'll Nintendo certainly, because their presentation was always just a Nintendo Direct. That was E3 specific. So that part's not going to change. I do think there probably should be a call for more open beta testing, more demos for people to play. Since people can't come to the demos, they should try to find a way to bring the demos to the people. I know the Nintendo, you're not probably going to see, and that sucks too, because if there is like, I'm trying to remember if there was a beta for, or a demo for Breath of the Wild. I don't think so. I don't think, not on the Wii U, but I don't remember. I didn't play Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. I tend to forget that Breath of the Wild was even made available for the Wii U. But like if they finally decide to showcase the sequel to Breath of the Wild this year and start hyping it, probably I would assume for next year, early next year maybe. I think I originally was assuming the sequel for Breath of the Wild would come out at the end of this year. Maybe it will. But then again, they might just if this Mario collection is going to be their big holiday, thing, then they may wait and do Breath of the Wild next year. But that depends on when they drop that. Because Paper Mario will be out in 2 months. That's not long at all. So who knows when this potential All-Stars 2 thing could happen, or Breath of the Wild 2. That's a good idea too. Any streamer that has a sizable audience, just they could reach out to people like that. I'm sure there'd be plenty of people willing to stream games and do beta reviews for them that way. I still think it would be cool. Like, that was the whole thing that I thought was cool about the Ninjala beta test, was that it was open to anybody. But, as long as you downloaded it, you could play it, check it out. But unfortunately, the game had issues, and it was very hard for people to get in and play it. So, and plus the time they allotted for that was really bad, because it was only 3 1-hour intervals for everyone. Instead of like doing it like a lot of people suggested, have it open for an entire 24-hour period. That way, whenever people in their personal lives have that moment they can jump in, they can. Because trying to get every single person who wants to play this game in at the same time is not going to work. And it didn't work. Although, from what I heard, because I tried the first 2 hours and they were disasters. Supposedly the 3rd hour, people were able to get in and play. So I hope that's resolved. But that would be a good idea for Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft to reach out to streamers. Because I'm pretty sure, I think they do this already anyway. I don't really know the ins and outs of how streamers are able to get ahead of the times these games come out. I know some of them do. But that would be cool. I do think a public demo would be a good substitute for having people being able to come and actually play at their, since there won't be a physical event. But as far as Nintendo goes, Nintendo will be fine, I think, with their whole, because they've pretty much the whole Nintendo Direct gimmick just works. It works for them, and I actually like that presentation. You see, who was it that tried to copy them first? was it Sony or Microsoft that did that? I can't remember what they called theirs. I think the PlayStation one they did, it was blatantly a knockoff of the Nintendo Direct format. And people were like, it just doesn't have the same feeling. It's not as exciting. Which is sad. But I mean, but then again, I am more of a Nintendo guy, even though I don't have anything wrong with that. I just prefer Mario and Zelda games and stuff like that. Even though I'm sitting here looking at my Xbox One S. But I think as far as getting the news out, the way the internet works now, just any like Paper Mario, they dropped this out of nowhere and it trended on Twitter the whole day. I mean, it was the top trend. So I don't think they need big events anymore as far as to get the word out. It's just the letting people get their hands on the game that's going to be a problem. But if they can do very limited, very small public demos for people to check out, I think that will be okay. But yeah, I do think it was Sony who did it first. But it'll be interesting to see, because it's almost June. They're gonna be revealing that the ARMS character in Smash soon. Hopefully the Pikmin rumor is true. Hopefully the All-Star rumor is true. I should have looked more into Wonderful 101. I didn't play that, but everybody says it's a great game. And now that it's coming to the Switch, I should check that out. It looks cool. But anyway, I've been talking now. Let's see, it's about 10 till. I've kind of talked as much as I can about this without just rambling further. But anyway, I look forward to seeing what all these companies can do and how they'll work around there not being an E3, because I think this is the end of E3. I think after this year, even after the whole issue with the virus is gone, because people have been kind of saying that E3 has been sort of irrelevant for a while. Because when Jeff Knightley said that he was not going to host E3 this year, everybody was like, that's kind of weird. Because that happened before all this virus talk started. So he's moved away from E3. I think that this is just going to be something that's going to have to, people are just going to have to get used to. But it's interesting to see how this will play out. But I think there's good stuff coming. And while I'm personally not super excited for the new PlayStation or Xbox right now, because the main topic seems to, like it always is with these games or with those two companies, is how realistic the graphics are. And I'm like, that doesn't really mean much to me, really. I mean, I'll play an old 8-bit game if it's fun. I mean, just give me a fun game. If it's not fun to play, then I'm not interested. Yeah, I think E3's done. I think the virus just kind of helped that. It kind of helped. It helps cement it. So I think we're not going to see another E3. But anyway, I appreciate people who tuned in. I've ranted long enough. I didn't want to get too negative. It's not too negative. Just criticism. I'm not bashing Sony or Microsoft. I don't hate them, So we got good stuff coming. I know that. Even if none of it's confirmed, I still feel pretty strongly about this Mario All-Stars rumor. So hopefully all that comes out soon, and we'll be playing some HD Mario or remake Mario, along with these remake Tony Hawk games and these WWE King of Fighters crossovers. So thanks for people who tuned in. I appreciate it. And that will be it for today. Like and subscribe and follow and sub and whatever terminology is appropriate for whatever you're watching it on. And thanks for the what is that? Mixer 1000 sparks appreciate it, the later show. And we will see you next time. Later.
Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario, take one step. And then again, let's do the Mario all together now. You got it. It's the Mario. Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario, take one step. And then again, let's do the Mario all together now. Come on now.